Welcome to today's deep dive. I'm your host, and I'm here with our resident business and strategy expert.
Hey everyone, I'm really excited to get into this one today.
So, when you first sent over the source material for this, I have to admit I didn't really know what to make of it.
I mean, it's a lot to take in at first glance.
It really is.
Uh,
But looking at your background in sales, I see exactly why you wanted us to decode this. Because think about your morning commute for a second.
okay.
When you walk down the street in your local neighborhood, what do you actually see? You probably see, the coffee shop with the long line, a crack in the sidewalk, maybe the bus stop.
Right, it's mundane. It's just functional geography.
Exactly. Just the physical space you tolerate to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
But imagine taking that mundane geography and somehow like flipping a switch in your brain. Suddenly, that exact same neighborhood transforms into a literal glowing map of power and potential.
Like you're suddenly reading the source code of reality itself.
Yes, every building is just vibrating with commercial energy that you can tap into. That is the mental landscape we are stepping into today.
It's a wild ride.
We are taking a deep dive into an incredibly raw, explicit, and highly unorthodox business text from 2025. It originates from what the author calls LAngo intelligence.
And it's titled ABWOR Land Section 87.
Right. And to anchor that title immediately, the word ABWOR translates to lion in LAngo.
Which is a language spoken by the Lango people of northern Uganda.
Yeah, and that alone sets this predatory survivalist tone before you even open the first page.
Absolutely. The author, ANYII, he isn't writing your typical sanitized corporate how-to book.
Not at all.
This is a deeply personal blueprint. He's trying to bridge what he calls commercial civilization with financial license.
So our mission for this deep dive is to decode this completely unique entrepreneurial mindset. It's this wild, unexpected blend of the gritty mechanics of network marketing, the cultural hustle of hip-hop. I mean, he references Tupac and Malcolm X heavily.
Oh, heck.
And he mixes all that with these deeply complex, almost esoteric numerical philosophies.
What's really fascinating here is that he doesn't just giving financial advice. He is basically constructing an entire cosmology.
Right.
He is alchemizing money, geography, art, and just sheer willpower into a single unified theory of survival.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the origin story of how he arrives at this mindset is the perfect starting point.
Yeah, let's start with chapter 1.
He calls it the geography of wealth. And we really have to set the scene here. He's at the Lango Cultural Center. He's a young guy, and he is just getting absolutely battered by the realities of commerce.
He's trying everything.
Everything. He tried selling shoes with a friend, flopped, tried phone repair, stunted, tried welding, unsuccessful.
And he makes a critical distinction right away here between a conservative commercial mind and an entrepreneurial mind. This completely reframes those failures. Well, a conservative commercial actor waits for their accounts to recover after a loss before taking another risk. They want to watch each step, retaining everything, playing it safe.
Which makes sense to most people.
Exactly. But the true entrepreneurial mind, at least according to his framework, reinvests heavily precisely when things are tough.
Oh, wow. Well.
Yeah, they trust their own brain power to force themselves into new commercial laws. They don't wait for safety. They basically engineer momentum out of thin air.
So it's in this crucible, sitting there meditating after all these failures, that he experiences this massive epiphany.
He calls it a synchronization.
Right, a synchronization.
Right.
A young lady walks by, she's looking at the internet on her gadget, and suddenly his mental radar just clicks.
He realizes he isn't just sitting at a cultural center. He is sitting in the absolute epicenter of a field of wealth.
He starts mapping his physical environment. The way he categorizes it is just brilliant. He looks to the east, and there's the stadium of John Akibua.
Uganda's first Olympic gold medalist.
Exactly. To his left, a massive mall is being constructed by a highly successful commercial man that he refers to only by a cipher 83J4.
Let's pause on that cipher for a second.
Yeah. Why does he use 83J4 instead of just naming the local businessman?
Because it elevates the businessman from a mere mortal into a mystical entity, or like a mathematical constant.
Oh, I see.
By turning a guy building a mall into an alphanumeric code, ANYII is stripping away the human element of commerce. He's viewing wealth purely as an algorithm.
It's part of his broader strategy to depersonalize success so he can replicate it.
Exactly.
That makes the next part of his map even more interesting. In front of him is a golf course where he once met the president, Yoweri Museveni. And nearby is the home of the former head of state, Dr. A. Milton Obote.
Two massive historical figures.
Huge. And just to be completely clear to you listening, ANYII isn't making a political statement here about these prominent Ugandan figures, and neither are we. We're totally impartial on this.
Right. He is viewing them purely as avatars of ultimate life and commercial success.
They are geographical anchors of power for him. And he decides, in that moment, that he needs to plug into that specific grid.
So he physicalizes his ambition. He walks straight over to the former president's compound.
He literally walks up to Dr. Milton Obote's house. He leaves his bag of books with the house staff to build rapport, knocks on the door, and actually meets Obote's son, Jimmy James Michael Akina Obote.
Who is in the middle of a major election campaign at the time.
Yeah. So Akina lets this young, aspiring commercial man into his dark living room with black couches. They have this brief conversation where the author explains he was studying literature and English.
And Akina tells him, point blank, the government has no interest in arts.
Which is a devastatingly pragmatic thing to hear when you're a young artist and entrepreneur.
It would crush most people. But ANYII doesn't crumble. He holds his tongue.
And as he's leaving, Akina gives him transport money back to his village, OKWENYE, and hands him 2 notes containing these incredibly cryptic letter and structural alignments.
He looks at the ceiling of this house, feeling this immense attractive force, and Akina tells him, this is the people's house.
It's like treating your local neighborhood like a physical treasure map or, a real-life video game level. You're drawing literal leveling up points from the success of the buildings around you.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it demonstrates how self-mythology functions mechanically in the real world.
What do you mean by mechanically?
Well, this isn't just a fun anecdote about meeting a famous politician's son. It is the moment a young, struggling entrepreneur decides that he has a right to exist on the exact same astral plane of success as world leaders and Olympians.
He just claims that space.
Yes, he takes the rejection of his early ventures, he takes the dismissal of the arts by the government, and he alchemizes it. He decides he will decode those cryptic notes and build his own empire.
Okay, so he's built this massive, regal self-image by tapping into the energy of presidents. But, you can't pay for dinner with astral energy.
No, you definitely cannot.
Monday morning hits, and he still has to sell. How does a guy who thinks he's a historical giant handle getting hung up on by a teenager buying shoes?
And that brings us directly to the granular mechanics of his business in Chapter 2, The Utmost Theory.
Anyone who has touched network marketing understands the churn rate is brutal.
Oh, it's soul-crushing. But ANYII doesn't just accept the churn. He weaponizes it.
In The Utmost Theory, he literally lists every single possible permutation of human behavior when you try to market to them.
It's an exhausting list.
Listen to this categorization. He writes, those who declined coming, those who are not decided, those who show up, those that prefer products, those that deposit and never complete.
It goes on.
Yeah. Those who admit seeing the message, those who do not see the message, those that, when rescheduled, never show up. He goes on and on.
He does.
I have to push back on the utility of this, though. If you sit down to make calls and you actively acknowledge all the highly specific ways someone is going to ignore or lie to you, doesn't that massive cognitive load just kill your motivation?
It would, if you were looking at them as humans.
Wait, what?
But he's not. It is a defensive matrix. By acknowledging and categorizing every single type of failure and false start, he removes the emotional sting.
Oh, I see.
The unpredictability of the market is what destroys an entrepreneur's mental health. If you expect a yes and get ghosted, you suffer.
Right.
But if ghosted is already on your spreadsheet as an expected, standardized outcome of the commercial ecosystem, say, Category 14, it loses its power to hurt you.
That's fascinating.
He is taking absolute cognitive control of an inherently uncontrollable environment by turning human rejection into predictable data.
He's tracking the data of human behavior just like he tracks the data of his own art, because we should mention he's also a hip-hop artist.
Yes, and he applies this exact same granular tracking to his music.
He literally logs it in his notebook. For example, he notes that his track, the one he actually titles 2.7 millibeats, had 1,239 plays and 253 downloads in June 2024.
Very specific.
Then he checks it in August, then again in September. By September 11th, it's at 1,289 plays and 263 downloads. What does it actually mean to name a track after its file size?
It reduces the art to pure exchangeable data. He isn't tracking this for vanity.
Yeah.
No. He says, constantly viewing my account statistics draws in my eyes digits which represent the money I should be making.
Wow.
He's using those micro increments of engagement 10 more downloads, 50 more plays as mathematical proof of concept. He is projecting future revenue based on current digital mass.
But then reality hits hard. October 22nd, he turns 27 years old.
Right.
And despite the downloads, despite the network marketing permutations, he realizes he has no money of his own and no job to keep money coming in.
It's a crisis point.
So he institutes what he calls the Jules Reserve. And I have to say, this is one of the most fascinating psychological hacks I've ever seen.
It's forced savings taken to an absolute conceptual extreme.
He gets a brand new, separate SIM card. He labels it 2.7 millimeter after his music track.
Yeah.
He doesn't put it in a phone. He never uses it for calls or internet.
It just sits there.
Just sits there. And from his main phone, he randomly but intentionally sends tiny specific amounts of money to this unused SIM card's mobile money account.
Very specific amount.
Yeah. He sends 99 shillings or 296 shillings or 499 shillings. And every time he does it, he uses this bizarre, highly specific reference code, ISBN 081-333-9499.
This raises an important question about the underlying mechanism of discipline. Why does he use such specific, arbitrary numbers? Why the ISBN reference?
I was wondering the same thing, because an ISBN is a commercial book identifier, right? The barcode on the back of a published text.
Exactly. It's a wild thing to use as a mobile money reference.
So why do it?
He is building a ritual of psychological encryption. Think about it. If you just send 500 shillings for savings, your brain knows what that is.
Right.
It knows you can access it when you're hungry. But by sending an irregular amount, like 296 shillings with a reference code that essentially catalogs the transaction as a published closed text, he is tricking his brain.
Oh, that's wild.
He tells himself the Jules Reserve never existed. He is encrypting his own wealth to hide it from his own desperation. He is treating his secret savings as an unreadable book.
It's a modern digital mattress, but an invisible one. In a chapter called Stay Off Times, he mentions the necessity of creating a reserve of jewels off profitable times that shall flow through destitute eras.
He's hacking his own psychology because he knows his own weaknesses.
And that deep dive into his own mental vulnerabilities is what leads us into the most intense part of the manifesto, the metaphysics of money and the emotional states of the entrepreneurial mind.
Yeah, chapters 8, 9, and 10, he maps out 4 distinct psychological states.
The first is black up. This is the abyss. It's when you're feeling lost, blind, surviving minute to minute.
The cognitive load is entirely dedicated to mere survival. You can't see any hope of moving ahead.
Then there is low normal. This is regular time. You feel alone, but sales pop up randomly. You are in harmony with the atmosphere, but it's just baseline existence.
Right, just cruising.
Next is balanced hype. This is tense. You feel joined with another form. He describes it as all money in, where no deal goes out of hand. You are organized, putting clients in their places, collecting profits.
You're doing well, but then comes the peak state, high red.
Here's where it gets really interesting. High red is the peak emotion. It's where the entrepreneur processes information the fastest and operates at their absolute best.
But there's a catch.
Yeah, when you read his description of it, it doesn't sound peaceful at all. It sounds inherently combative.
Very combative.
How does high red differ from the traditional Western concept of the flow state that, tech CEOs are always talking about?
Well, traditional flow state is often described like gliding on a bicycle downhill. Time slips away. You are one with the task. It's serene.
Right. Effortless focus.
Exactly. High red is the complete opposite mechanism. It is more like a computer processor that's been dangerously overclocked.
Ooh, I like that analogy.
The author explicitly says that in high red, you are operating at your fragilest, if not your worst. Disagreements are near.
Because the pressure is so high.
Yes. The market is at its highest, and you are under immense pressure to execute. You are processing market data at lightning speed, catching every buying signal, but you are running incredibly hot.
And one wrong move means the whole system crashes.
Exactly. It's a hyper-vigilant state where you are actively battling the world market to extract your profit.
He writes that the world market walks the earth, and if you don't have extreme knowledge of its dynamics, it will exploit you. You have to be discerning and fast because the market has its own time.
And you combat that market time with what he calls the eighth wonder,
which is his intense focus on compounding commercial effects over specific timelines.
Right. He maps this out over months. Month 6, he says, is covered in cheap gem.
Yeah, gems.
Yeah. You are dealing with basic commerce, small transactions, but month 8 is the crucible. Month 8 eclipses previous works.
Why month 8 specifically? Like, what is compounding here?
Month 8 isn't an arbitrary number, it's the mathematical tipping point of his effort. By month 8, the initial rejections from his utmost theory list have filtered out. The cheap gem clients from month 6 have become repeat buyers, and the sheer volume of his network reaches a self-sustaining mass.
So it snowballs.
Exactly. It creates a new commercial equilibrium. If you survive the overclocked state of high red until month 8, a new entrepreneur with completely upgraded commercial skills is literally invented.
It's like he's built a numerical religion out of business survival.
He really has.
Which is completely confirmed by the end of the manifesto. Yeah. He aligns this commercial law with this massive esoteric list of codes, years, and historical thinkers.
The list is wild.
We're talking Shakespeare, Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, Abraham Lincoln, Henry Ford, Malcolm X.
He even mixes the birth and death years of these historical giants with his own timeline and references to Tupac.
He also integrates philosophies that are directly aligned with the New Thought movement, like The Secret.
Right. He quotes, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive, it can achieve." And he states, "Everything in the universe is energy."
He is actively recognizing systems of power and energy, whether it's the physics of Einstein or the cultural defiance of Malcolm X.
But he pairs that universal cosmic energy concept with incredibly grounded, ruthless business tactics.
Like his isolation law.
Yes.
He writes, "He who invests quickly all over the place lives in abundance of his investments, but then he immediately pairs it with the necessity of isolating the commercial entity for peace."
You have to keep the money moving aggressively, but guard your mind fiercely from the chaos that money creates.
Which makes sense. But look at what he's actually doing with these codes, quotes, and historical figures.
It's a masterpiece of self-mythology.
Yeah, explain that.
He is taking standard business advice, the mathematical reality of compounding interest, the necessity of cognitive resilience, the importance of diversification, and he is alchemizing street hustle with physics.
He translates it into a personalized, codified religion of survival and wealth.
By coding himself alongside Einstein and Tupac, he isn't just an entrepreneur struggling in his village. He is a node in a historical continuum of genius.
So what does this all mean for you listening to this right now? When you sent this text over, it wasn't because you needed a tutorial on network marketing or, a lesson on how to track the megabytes of a hip-hop track.
No, not at all.
It's because ABWOR Land Section 87 is about architecture.
It's about constructing an impenetrable mental framework, a personal matrix.
OKWENYE Walter ANYII shows us that to survive the sheer volume of rejection the world throws at you, to have the discipline to save money when you are desperate, and to view yourself on the exact same level as historical giants, you cannot just passively accept the reality you are handed.
No, you have to actively code a new one.
You have to trick your brain with digital matrices using ISBN codes.
You have to treat the rejection of the market not as a personal failure, but as an algorithmic sorting mechanism.
You have to map the wealth of your local neighborhood and draw energy from it.
And you have to embrace the dangerously overclocked high red state to extract your profit.
It forces us to look at our own coping mechanisms, right? Walter ANYII built his ultimate commercial mindset out of his highly specific, immediate surroundings: local stadiums, Ugandan political history, hip-hop lyrics, and unused SIM cards.
It leaves you with a deeply provocative question.
What is that?
If you had to sit down right now and write your own Section 87 manifesto, what ordinary objects, local landmarks, and personal obsessions would you code into your ultimate blueprint for success?
What is the invisible architecture of your own ambition? Tomorrow, when you do that morning commute, I want to encourage you to walk down your street and really look.
See what's actually there.
Keep observing the hidden patterns in your own life. Maybe that crack in the sidewalk isn't just a crack. Maybe it's the start of your own treasure map. Keep diving deep.